All right. Well, first off, thanks you everybody for being here today. And then also too, I want to say thank you to Honey and Ginger for having me and organizing this talk. Today, we're going to be discussing navigating perimenopause, which is very dear to my heart because I am in perimenopause. So I am right there with you if you are somebody who's beginning to go through perimenopause yourself. So we're really going to be having a great conversation today about it. So a little bit about me. My name is Ashlie. I'm the founder and CEO of Aeryon Wellness Nutraceuticals. I'm a holistic nutritionalist, a registered holistic nutritional counselor. I have my cognitive behavioral practitioner certification, eating disorder recovery coach, bunch of things. I have a podcast called The Friends You Keep. So if you'd like, please subscribe on Apple. We'd love to have you listen to our conversations. We try to feature women doing exceptional things, people doing exceptional things in the world. I'm a top 100 health and wellness influencer. I have a #1 book on Amazon called Bulimia to Balance. And I have 4 cookbooks with my daughter. And I had a wellness radio show out here for about 3 years. So I've been in the natural health industry since I was 18 years old. I opened my first pro shop inside of fitness centers. So it's been a very big part of my life and who I am. And about 10 years ago, I hit a personal health crisis. I was overtired, overworked, overstressed. I had no libido, and I had a pretty good looking younger boyfriend, so it wasn't him. My cycles were debilitating. My metabolism was just not responding no matter what I did. And I started to enter early perimenopause. And what's really ironic about the whole thing is I was a holistic nutritionalist. I had been working with women for years. And I also had a really successful 15-year career in supplement sales. Every day I would go into the male-dominated retail sector and sell supplements that were made by men and marketed to women. And as I began to kind of come to my aha moment of understanding that if I didn't start really taking care of my health and wellness, what my future could look like in the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, I began to take a look at what true holistic health meant to me. And I began to look at that nutrition. I looked at mindset. I looked at my goals. I looked at movement. I looked at all of these things together. And I worked for several years on not just getting my nutrition down or just getting my movement down, but all of these things together to really find sustainable health and wellness. And it was around that time that I started to look at the supplementation industry and realized there was really no supplements that were really made for women, designed for women, and things that I really wanted. And that's really how I started my brand, Aeryon Wellness. And we'll talk about that at the end of the conversation today. And so from that, my own healing journey, this came the pillars of my brand and what I use and work with to find sustainable health and wellness and to bring me back from that point where I was 10 years ago. And they are the thoughts you think, the friends you keep, daily movement, nutrition, and then supplementation. And today in our talk, we're going to be kind of webbing and weaving and using some of these pillars and looking at ways in which we can use these pillars to navigate perimenopause. So today, this is our conversation. Our discussion is what is perimenopause, the stages of perimenopause, how we can support our body during perimenopause with nourishment, looking at our nervous system, adrenals, circadian rhythms, movement, and reducing the risk factors and what that looks like when we reduce these risk factors, and then supplementation as well. So I kind of thought this was cute. It's actually not cute. It's kind of scary, but this is what we're going to try to avoid. This is what we're avoiding right here, this menopause fairy. But I thought this was kind of funny. You know, at first she steals your figure, then she steals your sleep, next your mood, your patience, your eyesight, and finally she eats your brain. She leaves you with a lousy mustache, a muffin top, hot top, hot flashes, itchy skin, 10,000 moods, a dodgy memory, and an endless needs for nap, coffee, wine, and carbs. So what we're going to try to do is completely avoid this menopause fairy, and hopefully some of the tips and tools that we talk about today can help you never have this fairy come visit you. So what is perimenopause? You know, I didn't really know this, but perimenopause is known as the second puberty. And as our transition, I think we all know this, from regular cycles into no menstruation, which would be, of course, menopause. Our ovaries stop producing estrogen, and progesterone production actually starts to decline as well. And some of the symptoms we may see, and you may experience this, I know I have, changes to my menstrual cycle, some weight gain, sleep issues, hot flashes, vaginal dryness, and heart palpitations as well. So these are some symptoms that perimenopause is slowly coming. And when we look at this, we need to actually look at this as a sequence of events. So this is not just kind of happens overnight. In our late 30s and 40s, it actually starting there. Our progesterone production starts to decline. So even with our regular periods, we are making less progesterone. And that's what essentially protects us from the highs and lows of estrogen, right? And when we have these highs and lows of fluctuating estrogen, that can lead to symptoms such as irritable mood, as supposed to be breast pain, not breast brain, heavy periods, PMS as it's known. And PMS is not something we have to be going through. And so if you are experiencing still to this day some really heavy symptoms of PMS, we really need to take a look, because it's really giving you a window into what we need to start working with, so then we can have a healthier menopause and an easier transition as we get older, and we can have sustainable health and wellness and vitality, which is what we all really want to have. Now, once we actually are after our final period, that's when we have the lowest estrogen from that point. Now, your body still can produce estrogen with a conversion from testosterone to estrogen. It also from adipose fat that also can convert it there, also our adrenals, but we are operating on very much a lower amount of estrogen. Now, potential risk, if we have found we've gone through a really volatile, I guess that's the word I could use, PMS, heavy PMS, is it actually can increase our risks of insulin resistance, weight gain, and osteoporosis. So if you found your whole life you've had these really horrible periods, and even in perimenopause, you're having a really difficult time, it actually can increase our risk of insulin resistance, weight gain, and osteoporosis. So I took this picture because this is what it reminds me of, is I think everybody here remember the romper room, right? And her little, I see Billy, I see Bobby, right? So perimenopause is really a critical window for our health. Now, when we think about, in the fall and it starts to get cold, we're going to just for a second, we don't want to go back to winter, but we think about, we start getting cold and we start getting colds and, kind of feel the sniffles coming on. You might have some extra vitamin D. You might be taking some oil of oregano, making sure you're getting to bed early, really keeping yourself warm and, getting those good night sleeps, getting yourself nice and warm. We're preparing for not getting sick. We need to look at this at the exact same way. So if we see these dramatic shifts and changes with our cycles and with PMS and with in this transition time, we need to actually really start supporting our health. And if we don't, these small problems, if they're left unaddressed, can actually lead to bigger problems. And as I said in the last slide, so it might kind of sound like a repeat, it is really critical and important time for us to really look at what we're doing with our health and wellness, take necessary steps to start making different choices and supporting our bodies. And in that can also lead to the prevention of heart disease, insulin resistance, as we went before. So when do we start supporting, right? So I'm in perimenopause now, as I said, about 10 years ago. That's when I really got clear on how I needed to support my body to be able to have a healthy perimenopause and have a healthier menopause, and then to be super healthy and vital as I hit my 70s and 60s. So when can we start supporting is immediately after puberty. So I think some of us on this call probably are a little past immediately after puberty, but if you do have a younger person in your life, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and she doesn't have PMS symptoms. We've really worked on making sure she has really great fibrous foods. She takes one of the products that I have. We really look at ways in which we can keep her blood sugar balanced, so she's not all over the place, managing stress. So looking at different ways, and also, of course, keeping her estrogen levels balanced too. So at puberty is when we can start looking at it. Because when we have healthier cycles, we're going to have a smoother transition into perimenopause and into menopause. PMS problems are ability to look through that little, romper room magnifying glass and see what we need to be working with. We want to cycle as long as we can. I know I've met a lot of women over the years that just want their periods to be over. Our periods are an incredible resource for our body. We need to make sure we're actually keeping our cycles as long as possible. Because our healthy ovulation cycles, they decrease the risk of dementia, heart disease, and increase our life expectancy as well. They also maintain our heart and brain health. They enhance insulin sensitivity and support healthy metabolism. And in that, when we have those healthy levels of hormones, we also have healthy levels of progesterone as well, because we're going to find that balance, and that's going to help us sleep and help in relaxation. So some tips here, as we see, be mindful with over-exercising. So you don't want to be super stressful on your body. Keeping our blood sugar balanced is another one. Don't skimp on the carbs, and also prioritize stress reduction techniques. Another thing too, to look at when you're looking at, if you find you're having estrogen dominance, which is one of the leading causes behind PMS, or when your cycles are all kind of over the place. Looking at the skin, the hair products you're using, looking at the skin products you're using. Are you drinking out of plastic bottles? Making sure you're, BPA free bottles like I got here. Looking at your household detergents, the perfumes you're wearing, all of those things add up, and they produce more xenoestrogens with their unhealthy estrogen in your body. And that can lead to PMS as well, and your body's inability to detox and get rid of that excess estrogen, which then causes you to be imbalanced. You have higher levels of estrogen, lower levels of progesterone. So really looking at tips and tools, or strategies in which we can incorporate into our day-to-day life to make sure that we have a smoother transition. So one of the things we want to take a look at is nutrition. This is part of the 5 pillars, and anabolic means to build. So as we enter perimenopause, as we get older, we can develop anabolic resistance. And that happens to everybody. It just means our body's not going to be building muscle tissue the way that it used to be when we were younger. And it happens through our diet and through exercise. And it actually means our body, as I said, can't produce the muscles we want, but also declines our skeleton muscle mass as well. And if we can create more lean muscle tissue, it's actually going to help with our metabolism. So one of the things I find is people tend to eat the exact same things they've always eaten since their 20s. And we're not the same people we are since we were 20 years old. I eat higher amounts of protein now than I did back in the day, because my body's not able to break down the amount of protein that I have. So in that, my digestive efficiency has broken down. So I actually have more protein. I usually do about 40 grams of protein per serving. I have a high amount of protein in my diet to make sure I'm keeping that lean muscle tissue. That's going to help with blood sugar stabilization. One of the things we also have too is we have a decreased insulin sensitivity. So that's how our body responds to insulin. So when we have any carbohydrates or sugar, that releases sugar into our blood, and then what happens is our body then releases insulin from our gallbladder, and that shuttles into the cell, and our cell uses that sugar for energy. And so our body slows down its ability to utilize the sugar that we're giving it when we're eating it. And that's called insulin sensitivity. So we decrease that. So we have a higher risk of insulin resistance, and we have a lower carb tolerance as well. So looking at different ways in which we can increase our protein levels, and also in which we can support our body by making sure that we're stabilizing our blood sugar. Another thing that often ends up happening as well is our metabolism slows down too. So we have a lower metabolic rate. By making sure we're keeping that lean muscle tissue, it keeps our metabolism revved and going. So how you can do this with your food, ideally we want to have 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. So that's about a 4 ounce of animal protein, or if you're a vegan, you can have vegan protein as well. That's going to stimulate the protein muscle synthesis. It's going to preserve that lean muscle tissue. It's going to support your metabolism. It's going to support your body with amino acids. I do a protein smoothie. I do Greek yogurt. I have steak. I do eat meat, so I'll have chicken. I really look at making sure every single meal I have protein, which will secure the fact that I'm going to create that lean muscle tissue. It's also really important that we have protein, like produce and whole carbohydrates, whole food carbohydrates, really being mindful of the carbs per sitting. One of the things I've changed is before, when you look at our plates, it used to be like, have your protein or have your rice, have your protein, and then have your vegetables. I now do my protein as usually my biggest part of my meal. Then I have my vegetables, if it's even or second, and then a small amount of carbohydrates. So I really have shifted that. I don't have as many carbohydrates. I still have carbs. I'm not interested in eliminating anything. I find once we start saying we can't have something, it just makes you want it even more. But I'm just more mindful of how many carbohydrates I'm eating, because I know my body's not able to utilize it the same way it did when I was 20 years old. And so I'd rather give my body good amounts of protein to really keep that lean muscle tissue instead. And also too, of course, fats to help our nervous system, and of course, hormones. So really looking at those good EFAs. If you can have salmon, if you take a fish oil on its own, you can also use coconut oil as well. But we really want to make sure we're having whole foods, minimizing that processed foods, and looking at anti-inflammatory nutrition, which is going to be all those colorful vegetables that we have. So other nutrition tips, if you find after you have a meal or after you have a snack, you're just exhausted, that could be a pretty good indication that you're actually suffering from insulin sensitivity. And we have been taught to have like 6 meals a day. I found now in my older age, I actually do 3 meals a day. I find I'm not as exhausted afterwards, even though I used to be a person that was like six snacks a day. I do 3, and I find I feel better. And in that sitting, I also sit and I'm present with my food. I try my hardest. I try to be really present, take some breaths before we're eating our food to get into that relaxed state. And that has been really helpful for me, because I found there was a point where I was doing all these small meals. Whenever I'm snacking, I would just be exhausted every single time. So that's another way of really supporting your blood sugar as well. And it also, every time you eat, when you're actually eating, and your cortisol levels are going to rise as well. So it alleviates the stress that you're putting on your body. Another thing too is to, if you are somebody who is really having a symptomatic transition, so let's say right now, heavy duty breast pain, hot flashes, you can't sleep at night, you're perimenopause, right now you're looking through that window and you're like, holy crap, there's some things here that are really standing out. I'm not having a really smooth perimenopause journey right now. Some of the things you can do, and you can also work with a functional nutritionalist or go in to see your naturopath and do some testing. You can do a Dutch test. You can do some of those tests to really look at where you're at. But on your own, some of the things you do is start eliminating certain foods. There's a lot of people who end up developing different food allergies over the years. So pull your gluten out. So I usually suggest to people, try 2 weeks of pulling things out. If you're finding you're really asymptomatic, pull gluten out, because that can disrupt your immune system, your digestive and nervous functioning, right? So really giving yourself 2 weeks, see how you feel. Dairy as well. A lot of people with dairy can have painful periods. Looking at high histamine food as well. What's really funny is dark chocolate. I realize I have now developed a sensitivity to histamine food. So wine, definitely. I don't have the best sleep if I have wine, but dark chocolate, I'll find that I wake up in the middle of the night. That's a high histamine food. So I try to not partake in that as much. And then also to processed sugar and highly processed foods. So if you're experiencing a really asymptomatic perimenopause right now, maybe cut those out and then bring them back in slowly and see how you feel. That's one way of really kind of seeing where your body's at. Alcohol, another thing we can look at with perimenopause, and I love my alcohol, so don't get me wrong, but I can't be the only one that notices that, oh my gosh, the hangovers are so bad now, like so bad. Like I have to plan if I'm going to have a wine night, I have to do it on a Friday, because Saturday I need to basically get myself back together. Sunday I can feel normal and be ready for work on Monday. So alcohol is really problematic for perimenopause. It impacts our sleep. So that reduces our melatonin levels and disrupts our circadian rhythms, which is going to raise our cortisol levels, which makes it harder for our body to produce melatonin. So we're not getting that good night's sleep, right? So that's really important. It can negatively impact the gut microbiome and activate mast histamine. So that's another reason why you could be waking up in the middle of the night. It can impact the maintenance and development of healthy muscle and bones, impacts estrogen metabolism, so your body's ability to work through excess estrogen in the system, increase fibroid and breast cancer, and it can actually shrink the brain. So, I think we'd have to be drinking lots, but I'm just putting these notes out there too, that if you are somebody, I've had a lot of women over the years who have a glass or 2 of wine every single day, and sometimes more than that. So really looking at how this could be something that's getting in the way or causing you to have perimenopause issues that you're having, if it is something you're experiencing. So when we are losing estrogen and progesterone, it can do a number on our brain and our nervous system, and it can force it to recalibrate, to adapt to the changes. And so building health and resistance of our nervous system to have a smooth transition and no symptoms is something that's really, really important. Having a high functioning HPA axis is key to hormonal balance. So looking at how we manage stress is very, very important, right? So dysregulation of this, when we're stressed out all the time, that can actually lead to changes in insulin, lead to insulin resistance, and also abnormal weight gain. There's a reason why there's a thing around your belly. If you're experiencing a lot of weight gain, it's called the cortisol belly. That's stress. And it's a huge factor in sleep and actually can contribute to more hot flashes. So really looking at how we take care of ourselves and how we take care of our nervous system, how we take care of our stress levels, if we're able to take time for ourselves, how important that is and how that translates into our perimenopause and menopause journey, and of course, later on in life. So when we think about it this way, every thought releases a brain chemical, which is pretty interesting to think about. So there's a lot of brain chemicals going on. Now, if we're focused on negative thoughts, it actually zaps the brain of its power, positive forcefulness. It slows it down and can dim the brain's ability to function. It can even create depression as well. I think we all know that, how it's easy to kind of tailspin down something, down a negative thought pattern. However, if we think happy, hopeful, optimistic, joyful thoughts, it decreases that cortisol. Cortisol is that stress hormone, and produces serotonin, which is a hormone that creates a sense of well-being. So just by simply changing our thoughts is one way in which we can help our body have a healthier perimenopause. So it's actually not, that's an easy thing. We can all do that right now, right? So really looking at the thoughts that we're thinking, that's going to decrease our cortisol levels as well. It's going to help with sleep, and it's going to help with our body's ability to process excess estrogen in the system. So I've always used a practice called cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm sure some of you have heard of it. And I really like this quote: change your language and change your thoughts, and you can change your life. So cognitive behavioral therapy is really the thoughts we think can affect what we do and what we don't do, and affect how we feel as well. So when I am thinking, and they've actually done studies on this, women who think menopause in negative terms have more frequent and negative symptoms, physical symptoms. So really learning, instead of like, oh my gosh, this is horrible, I'm going through perimenopause, it's all going down from here. Like, okay, this is a new chance for me to recreate myself. I'm going to be somebody new in this moment. And then the feeling of that is you're going to be using some of these supportive techniques we're talking about today to make sure that you're having this amazing journey into this part of your life. And then the outcome of that, that's going to be actually you living your best life. So really looking at the way we're thinking about things is a really important part of all of this, and to me, it's one of the most essential parts of holistic health and wellness. That's why I put it as my number one pillar, the thoughts you think. CBT is actually used in menopause for effective treatment of hot flashes and night sweats as well. So some of the quotes we can look at is: I am vibrant and energetic, and I'm ready to find joy. My body is healthy. My mind is healthy. Times may be difficult, but this is a short phase of life and things will get better. Creating mindfulness in your day. Every morning before I get up, I'm very clear on this, and this is something you can start doing tomorrow, or you can do today. Every morning before I get up, my alarm gets off. I don't touch my phone. I don't go on it. I lay there. I give myself till I get up at 5:45 till 5:50 roughly. And I just give gratitude for what I have in my life. And I really set my intentions for the day. And in the beginning, it was kind of like, oh gosh, I got to do this again, because I was really making myself do it. And there is not a day I don't get up and do it. And it has profoundly changed my days. And has also been a huge factor in my own health and wellness, making sure I get to the gym, because if I'm laying there for 5 minutes and I'm like, I'm going to take on this day, it's going to be amazing, I get up and put my gym clothes on and go work out. So I'm doing movement, right? So really looking at that, that's such a simple thing we can do to really start shifting our hormone levels in our body, and also to carry it on for the rest of our life. So then we actually have these positive reinforcements. And looking at working towards a goal as well, that's something else you can do. And we're looking at ways in which we can support ourselves mentally. So movement. I'm a big movement fan. And this is a really essential one as well, because one of the reasons we're going to be giving our bodies these adequate amounts of protein is our body can use this to convert it to lean muscle tissue. If you look at a lot of, my dad is an example. My dad was a bodybuilder when I was growing up, and my dad did not keep his protein levels up, did not keep his workouts up. And my dad was a big guy, and now he's like this little person. So it's really important, when I talked about having high levels of protein in each meal, having those high levels of protein in each meal. And in that, your body will use that protein and convert it into lean muscle tissue, which is going to keep your metabolism on fire and keep it going. And what we know is that muscle weighs more than fat, but it's also smaller. So if you've ever seen the pictures where they have, 5 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of muscle, and the muscle is way smaller than the fat, we really want to create more lean muscle tissue. So movement not only helps create lean muscle tissue, but it helps with bone density as well, which is really important as we get older. It supports insulin sensitivity, reduces inflammation, and supports weight management too. So we also want to be also mindful of cortisol, which is our stress hormone. So if you are super stressed, if your body's going through a lot, you got a lot going on in your life, maybe going and doing a HIIT workout at max capacity is not the best thing for you right now, because that's just going to tailspin you even more. It might be just go for a walk. Walking is an incredible zone 2 cardio. It actually improves cardiovascular health, helps with blood sugar regulation, supports weight management, reduces stress. And if you can find a friend to go with you, then you've really got that support network where you're able to talk and able to kind of relay some of your stuff that you've got going on in your life. And it's a de-stressor, which is going to help you too. Resistance training. I know some people do not like going to the gym. So if you hate going to the gym, this might be shocking for me to say, but then don't go. What you should do is find something you love, but find something that causes your muscle to give it some resistance. So my mother loves pickleball, so she goes and plays pickleball all the time. If you like tennis, if you used to go play figure skating, do something in which you're going to be working your muscles. It's really important. It's going to build that lean muscle tissue. It's going to help you with hot flashes as we get older. If that's something you end up coming across, it helps with cognition and brain health as well. I keep bands by my couch. We all have commercial breaks during our television nights, or I think some of us do, or even if you're on Netflix, you can pause it. Do some band, do some arm curls. It's not hard, right? Having some stuff that sits out where you are at night, if you want to have a moment to relax, to really make sure that you're getting the weight in, or that resistance training in, is really important. Some other supportive tips to really look at when we're looking at supporting ourselves through perimenopause and going into menopause is getting that morning light. I know sometimes in the winter that's been hard, so I'm definitely one to say that. But getting outside in the first 10 to 15 minutes of waking and getting that light, eliminating the blue light exposure in the evening is all really important. It really sets our circadian rhythm, which is going to help produce melatonin, which is going to help us sleep better. So really important we have that. Having your morning protein, making sure you're getting that protein in. I know a lot of people love doing fasting, intermittent fasting, which I'm a fan for fasting as well. So you don't necessarily have to be by 10 a.m., but I would suggest your first meal of the day being protein. Make sure you have protein. Don't do a really high fruity smoothie. Have something that's protein. You can have fruit in it, but make sure you're getting protein. That's going to balance the blood sugar. Getting outside into nature, that helps with the parasympathetic tone. Building connections, as I talked about, having friends and family and support and people you can talk to about what you're going through. Doing breathwork, yoga, and meditation are all really important ways of supporting our body during this transition to make sure that we have a healthier, happier older age. So when we're reducing these risk factors by looking at using some of these tools, what that's going to help us with is, one of the big things is osteoporosis. So a lot of the time we look at bone, we just kind of think it's this like, thing that sits there. It's like hard, but it's actually a living tissue. And the hormone osteocalcin, it helps regulate the HPA axis, which we talked about before, which is that nervous system, right? So it's really important that we take care of our bone health. It supports this supports general health by supporting the bone health. So we want to limit alcohol and smoking. We know those are factors that can cause osteoporosis, and estrogen has a really positive effect on bone health. This is one of the reasons why keeping our cycle is important. And when it's reduced, it can impact bone health and density. And having more lean muscle tissue, as I talked about earlier, and strength training can impact bone health. So really important to look at how you can support your bones, how we can support bone health. Breaking hips and all those kind of things are some of the things you see a lot of older people ends up happening in their 70s and 80s. And it doesn't have to happen that way as long as we are supporting our bone health. Some of the ways you can do this: estrogen and progesterone, obviously they're big components of that, but vitamin D3 and K2 can also be supportive as well, that combination together. So making sure that you're having those two can really help with bone health. Surgical menopause can also put people more at risk of osteoporosis because it's put you into menopause earlier. So it's really important that you're supporting your body, and the D3 and K2 is one way of doing it. So insulin resistance. We touched on this. This is one of the things that can happen if we're not really looking through that looking glass and taking care of our bodies. If we're experiencing a really tumultuous perimenopause, or if you've had really horrible PMS, that's really your looking glass time to take a look at everything you're doing, take a look at the foods you're eating, take a look if you're doing movement, and really taking a look at what you're doing in your life and what changes you can make to make sure that you have a healthier perimenopause and menopause. So some of the things we talked about, we already kind of touched base on this one: getting the protein, monitoring your carb consumption, not having lots of that high fructose corn syrup, that corn sugar. That's going to make a big difference in corn syrup. No naked carbohydrates. And what I mean by this is, if you're going to have a rice cake, have some peanut butter on it, have some tuna with it. have something. And on that note, rice cakes have no point in being called cakes, but nonetheless. So not having naked carbs. Going forward, you always want to pair your carbs with a protein. That's going to stabilize the blood sugar. We want to build muscle. That's going to support you with insulin as well, insulin resistance. Sorry, it's going to support your insulin as well. Getting adequate sleep and supporting stress support. And then, as we said, looking at intermittent fasting or minimalizing that mindless snacking, so you're not spiking your blood sugar all over the place. So really looking how you can support your body so you don't get insulin resistance. And I kind of described this, eating food, your body's going to make that insulin, and then the cells resist the insulin, so leaves that in your blood, and then the sugar, it gets stored as fat, and then you feel tired and hungry, and then you eat again. So it becomes this vicious cycle. Another thing is brain health. So menopause can drop in brain energy. And there is a study, it shows 60% of middle-aged women report difficulty in concentration, and they actually spike for those going through perimenopause. So I don't know if some of you have had moments of like, what did I come in here for? I've had many of those moments, and ways in which we can support our brain health. Because not only when we get older do we want to have good, healthy bones and be vibrant and be healthy, but we also want to have our thoughts together as well. So looking at how we can support our thoughts. And in that omega-3 fatty acids, I talked about EFAs, MCTs, which is coconut oil, can help as well. Really powerful and great antioxidant. Looking at how your body's responding to your meals. So making sure you're not exhausted after every meal. And if you are exhausted every meal, make sure you're looking at what you're eating, making sure you're having your proteins, reducing your alcohol and smoking, eating whole foods. Kind of feels like I'm repeating some of this stuff because I am. Another thing too with brain health is learning new activities. My mom is a perfect example for myself. She's 72. She took up pickleball a couple of years ago, but she's always learning new board games. She's taking courses, free courses at the university. She's always learning. So she's keeping her brain really sharp, and that's really important as well. So as we get older, I know some of us are in our 60s and 70s now, but still making sure that becomes a part of what we're doing in our life to keep it so we're actually able to have a wonderful, healthy life. So I'm going to talk a little bit about supplementation right now, which is my brand and one of the products that has really helped me with perimenopause. So with perimenopause, obviously we've talked about the nutrition aspect. We've talked about what's really happening. What's happening is our progesterone levels are starting to drop. Our estrogen levels tend to kind of be all over the place at times. What Reclaim does, it actually relieves the estrogen imbalance. So we've done the food component, you're moving your body every day, you're lifting weights, you're handling your stress. This is going to support your body even more. It's going to help those irregular cycles. I find if I don't take Reclaim, that's when my cycles are really irregular. This is going to keep you on a 28-day cycle, helps with moodiness and cravings, any painful periods. It's fantastic perimenopause support. It's immune support as well, and it's a 1 a day. This is a new formula we just came out with. I'm going to go over it quickly. In this, we have calcium deglucarate. So calcium deglucarate helps with stage 2 liver detoxification and eliminates excess estrogen in the system. So when we have those higher levels of estrogen and the lower levels of progesterone, and we can't seem to get rid of it because maybe we're not sweating or going to the bathroom, all those different things. So it's really important we're able to support the liver to eliminate excess estrogen. And that's what this product does. We have green tea extract that helps with blood sugar regulation. So as I talked about, instead of doing this throughout the day, it's going to help stabilize your blood sugar. We have broccoli sulforaphane in here. We know cruciferous vegetables help with estrogen detoxification. We have DIM in here that balances good to bad estrogen. It also helps with PMS and prevents breast, uterine, and colorectal cancer. We have resveratrol as well that acts as a phytoestrogen. So xenoestrogens are the chemical estrogens that we come into contact with in our day-to-day with the plastics and with the makeups and skin creams and all the things I kind of talked about. And this is phytoestrogen, which is a good estrogen. That's going to help support good estrogen in your body. We have lion's mane in here. So I'm sure some of you heard of lion's mane that helps with anxiety and depression, helps with nerve damage, and may help prevent against dementia. So looking at how we can support cognitive health. We have curcumin, which helps with anti-inflammatory, so turmeric. We have chaste tree in there. So chaste tree helps increase the luteinizing hormone, which increases progesterone. So we're looking at ways in which to bring the excess estrogen down and bring your progesterone levels back up. So we have that nice balance, that homeostasis. And that's going to help with ovulation to keep your cycles on track and keep them as long as you possibly can. And then when you're going through menopause, it's going to be an easier transition because you've been able to support your body. We have white yam in here that helps with PMS, cramps, vaginal dryness, low libido, osteoporosis, DHEA, and testosterone production, B6 for mood and PMS. Then we have astragalus that helps with anti-aging and immune support, and zinc as well, with helps with sex drive and immune. So it's a fantastic product. It is my favorite. This is reclaimed. So there's a 60 cap and a 30 cap. Honey and Ginger does have these products for sale. And I was going to say, maybe I'll do it afterwards. I'll show you guys the QR codes and kind of how our technology and what we're doing is a little bit different with Aeryon Wellness. Next, when we talked about cognitive wellness, I mentioned that. I'm going to bring up You Remind Me. You Remind Me is our cognitive product. Anybody who's feeling brain fog, if you're finding there's certain times of the month when you're just kind of out to lunch and pre-period, sometimes that ends up happening, or at different parts of your day, you're feeling that way. This is a really natural memory support. It helps increase energy and cognition, reduces the symptoms of stress as well. We talked about the importance of managing our stress levels, enhances mood, and supports your adrenals, which is what is responsible for your cortisol hormone. So in this one, we have hawthorn, and hawthorn is known to help with heart support. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. So looking at how we can support heart health with women, we have KSM 66 ashwagandha. One of the big things was really important to me when I've done my brand is making sure that I'm using not only clinical doses, but using ingredients that actually make a difference. So a lot of the time when you buy ashwagandha, it is the stem. You don't get the bioavailability. You don't get the active components from the stem. You need it to be the root. So if you're buying any ashwagandha on the market, doesn't have to be this one, any ashwagandha, make sure it's the root. That's what you want. That's what has the withamothols, that's what it's called. And that's what's going to give you the benefits of ashwagandha. The stem is not going to give you the benefits. So ashwagandha is a powerful adaptogen and helps the body manage stress. The KSM, if you go on their website, it's quite an expensive ingredient. That's one of the reasons I'm quite proud to have it. It's on the front of the bottle. We have their little logo here, but they don't use any solvents, and it's actually vegan as well. Then we've added bacopa, which is that little pretty white flower out in your back garden. Don't eat those. It's not going to have the same effect, but this helps with memory. So we have 300 milligrams clinical dose in there. We have astragalus, the same ingredient that we had in Reclaim, that helps with stress. It's an adaptogen, also helps with lung tonic. It's a lung tonic and helps with immune support. Schisandra, which helps with energy and stamina, and B5 as well. This is a 1 to 2 a day. Honey and Ginger carries this one as well. Really super simple, easy to take. You can stack them if you really wanted to. You could take this one at lunch, and you could take this one mid-afternoon, or this one in the morning, and this one mid-afternoon. It's totally up to you. And then last but not least, I'm just going to talk about sleep, because I think that's something a lot of us really struggle with. I made this product because I've always struggled with sleep support. Every now and then I usually can fall asleep, but I can't do melatonin. I have a really tough time with melatonin. I find I have the weirdest dreams. And so I really wanted to create a sleep support product that supports you and support women and support myself that doesn't have melatonin in it. So we looked at this product a little differently because we wanted to support your adrenals. What we understand is when we are stressed, our body then produces more cortisol. I talked about that earlier. And when we're producing more cortisol, our body then produces less melatonin. So we're not able to get that restful good night's sleep. So what we've done with Snooze, we've actually put ingredients in there to support your adrenals. So lowering the cortisol levels, so then your body can naturally produce more melatonin. So reducing stress, promotes relaxation, improves sleep quality. There is no sleep hangover at all. And also we have 2 key ingredients in here that help with hot flashes. So if you are beginning to experience hot flashes at night, this is something you can definitely be looking at. As I said in my talk, making sure you're also looking at movement, food, stress management, all these things if you're really experiencing hot flashes right now. But this is a really great support as well. So in here we have hawthorn again to support heart health. We have valerian, so that inhibits the breakdown of GABA. So that's going to put you in a nice, calm, relaxed state. We have L-theanine. That's where we're reducing the stress and the cortisol, looking at ways in which we can support your body with stress, and that's L-theanine. Passion flower, that also helps with anxiety and sleep, and it boosts GABA levels in the brain. And they've done studies with the valerian and passion flower together, and they reduce hot flashes. So if you're somebody who's experiencing hot flashes, a great support for that. We have GABA in there as well that helps with healthy hormone production and also puts you in that sedative effect, and magnesium glycinate. So really nice, super simple product. You can take last night, sometimes during the month, I'll have certain days. Actually, it's my own fault. I was watching really bad television. I don't know if I want to even admit this, but I got caught into the Love is Blind show or whatever, the Love is Blind, I think is what it's called. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I couldn't sleep. So it's not, I don't know if I want to, now you're all going to judge me for watching, but anyways, worst show. But I was watching it and I couldn't sleep. So rolled over, took 2 snooze, went to sleep. I was up at 5:45, no problem. If you wake up in the middle of the night, the advantage of this one, you roll over, you can take 2 snooze, go back to sleep, no sleep hangover. It's beautiful that way. So if you're somebody who's looking for something that you can take whenever you need it, this is definitely the solution. Honey and Ginger carries this one as well. And we now have a new bonus size, the 60 cap too. So last but not least, I'm just going to talk for a second about our QR code technology that we use on Aeryon Wellness. And I talked in the beginning about the 5 pillars and how it was really important for me to not only create a product line, but also to be able to help other women as well. So what I've done is on the front of every bottle of Aeryon Wellness, when you scan these QR code, you are given a 60-second video where I explain in detail every single product, kind of what I did just now. But you're also given 2 meal plans pertaining to whatever product you buy. In Reclaim, we have a hormone balancing meal plan. In Snooze, we did 14 magnesium-rich recipes. It was hard to do 2 weeks worth. You Remind Me, we have 2 cognitive meal plans. In Lose It, which is our metabolism support product, we have nutrition, not weight loss, but metabolism supportive meal plans. So every single one has meal plans. Every single one has tons of information on whatever the issue is that you're looking at. So we can really help guide you and give you new tools and habits in which you can change your life and find sustainability. Because I mean, as much as I'd love to say that, let's say Reclaim, for example, this is going to be, a magic pill. There is no magic pill. But if you combine all the tools and strategies and program that we're putting into this with this QR code in with the product, then you're going to find yourself really on a path to wellness. So like tonight's talk, you start implementing all the things, you add Reclaim, you're definitely going to see some huge changes. And if you added Reclaim, you probably see some, but the amount of changes you would see if you actually applied all those 5 pillars that we give you in the QR codes would be astronomical. So I actually got onto Dragon's Den using these QR codes. So if you Google Aeryon Wellness Dragon's Den, you can watch my Dragon's Den pitch. I did get 3 offers, I will tell you that. So I'm the only one using this QR code technology in Canada. So a recap of what we kind of talked tonight was, I put tracking your cycle, but really looking at what your cycle is right now. What is going on with your body? And you can track it. If you want to use the apps, you can do that. Or just simply writing down, like, do you have heavy breast pain? Are you having really super heavy, uncomfortable periods? Are you brain fog? Are you really crabby? Are you craving all these things? And those are, as we talked about, that looking glass into, okay, I need to take some steps to start supporting my body. So then as I keep going on in life, it's going to get better. It's not going to be something that, well, it just kind of goes like this, because that's not what we want. So we really want to start putting those tools and strategies in place to support your body, as I talked about, having lean protein, because we know that our body's not able to break down the amount of protein that we had before. So making sure you're upping your amount of protein. Don't have naked carbohydrates, have lots of protein every meal with your food. Making sure you're having stress care, thinking about what you're, adjusting the thoughts that you're thinking more powerful thoughts, getting a good night's sleep, all these different things to support your body. And those are all in the QR code of Reclaim as well. Looking at nutrition, stress, and movement. And then lastly, supplementation is something you can also look at too. So another way you can stay connected with us, I will say we do have a new product we just launched, so please stay tuned. Maybe I'll come back and do another talk on it. We have So Harmonious, which is our PCOS and fertility product. It also is great for type 2 diabetes with blood sugar stabilization. But you can keep in contact with us. We have webinars we do quite a bit in our newsletter on our website. We have a podcast, Friends You Keep, on Apple. Our Instagram and Twitter, please feel free to follow us over there. We're always talking about new products and new innovation on Facebook, YouTube, and then I have my personal Instagram as well. So you can always reach out to us there. If you have any questions about any products, please feel free to reach out. We are more than willing to answer and to help you find what works best for you. All right. Now, do we have any questions? That's kind of weird. I've been talking to myself the whole time, but do we have any questions tonight? Kind of wrapping up at the end, and all of the products, all Aeryon Wellness products can be bought at Honey and Ginger as well. So if you are interested, please you can head into Honey and Ginger and buy it from them. Are there any questions? Okay, so I've got one question here. It says, I'm at the point of 1 to 2 periods a year. I don't know if everybody can see this, and have been like this for 3 years. I just turned 50. I'm wondering from the past. Well, your body's still producing a little bit of progesterone, that's for sure. I mean, you can definitely take Reclaim. That when we do have a menopause product we're launching, but you still are in perimenopause because you're getting a period. So you can definitely take Reclaim. We have a menopause product we're launching in the fall. So that will be something we will have then, but you could definitely still take Reclaim for sure if you're getting 1 to 2 periods a year. That's just really going to help you. I mean, it depends on if you're having symptoms. So if you're having, painful breast pain, if you're, when you get your periods, if it's really debilitating, is it really heavy? Is it really, I found for me, Reclaim kind of keeps me more on track. So I'm able to keep my periods a little more regular, which is what one of my goals has been. So it can be purely up to you, but you definitely could still take Reclaim as well. It's still going to support you. Should somebody else raise their hand? I thought you have to put it in the question box because we don't have there we go. Okay. Yes, it will be a supplement. It's a supplement for menopause. It's actually called No Pause, and that one is coming out in the fall. We're just putting through our NPN. So in Canada, one of the reasons I only buy Canadian supplements is we have to go through quite a bit of study and research to actually get a product to market. We all have these little NPNs. So whenever you buy a product, they should have an NPN. It means we have to show all of the clinicals behind each product we have. So yeah. So anyway, so I remember what I was saying because I read the next question, but with the menopause product, it takes a long time to get it just because the government kind of makes us jump some hoops. It will help with low estrogen symptoms. Yes. So in the menopause product, I think I'd have to even I know one of the things we've added to it, which is really unique because we're in the final processes of filing. I'd have to dig it up. 1 second here. Let me take a look. I can tell you a little bit about it. Where are we here? Sorry, 1 second, let me look. Oops. We have a clinical, let me see here. Okay. Let's see, sorry. I've got emails, but I've got 50 emails on each product. There we go. Let me see if I have this one in here. So in there, we've got, all right. Okay, I found it. Thanks for being patient, everybody. Take me a second to download. I don't remember all the ingredients off by hand. Okay, so in this, we've got red clover. That's one of the ingredients we have. We have milk thistle to support the liver. We've added angelica root. We have black cohosh, a 4-to-1 extract. So we know black cohosh really supports menopause. We've added American ginseng. We've had chaste, so we have the chaste in there, and the chaste helps. And it's going to be probably a two capsule a day, if I'm correct, for this one. It's a little bit higher. And then we also have added Aeryon. So we have Aeryon, which is a trade named saffron. And the clinicals behind saffron for menopause support are pretty impressive. So that's one of the reasons why we're including that ingredient. It's an expensive ingredient, but to me, I made up 5 bottles of it about a year ago. It cost me over $100 per bottle to make up. And I did a little tiny trial with a bunch of ladies, and the feedback was phenomenal. So I offered them all a free bottle of whatever product they wanted for taking part in the trial. And every single person wanted a free bottle of No Pause, which I didn't have to give them. So I'm really, really excited about that one. So we are looking, it probably takes about 6 months to get that NPN, that number I explained. So it's probably going to be launched October, November next year. So keep your eyes out for it, but I'm really excited about that one. So if anybody's on the call today who's experiencing perimenopause, by then you might be a little bit more on the journey of menopause, and then that's a product you can definitely look at. Are there any other questions? Oh, there are more questions. Okay, sorry. Yes, it is. So your irregular periods and vaginal dryness is definitely caused. It's not caused by low estrogen. A lot of the time, it depends on where you are too. Sorry. So are you still getting your regular periods? Okay. So vaginal dryness is what ends up happening during perimenopause. So our estrogen's out of whack, our estrogen's a little higher, our progesterone level is lower. So Vitex is a great ingredient. Vitex is what we have in Reclaim. We have Vitex, which is chaste, that's otherwise known as Vitex. So you can definitely take Reclaim if you wanted to. You can finish the one you have. I would finish your product first. Don't let it go to waste. Finish what you got. And then you could switch on to Reclaim. Or if it's just Vitex on its own, you could definitely add the Vitex in with Reclaim if you want to take them together. And Reclaim, I really like it because it's a 1 a day. A lot of the products in the market are 2 to 4 a day. And I never take 4 pills a day. Usually I'm really bad taking pills. So I try to make it all 1 a day. Yes, I can definitely talk about Lose It. So Lose It is our metabolism support product. And so Lose It has, let me go grab my bottle 1 second over here, because I take it. Lose It is one of my favorite products. I take this one, I take it every day, to be honest with you. I take it every morning. I use it for a pre-workout, gets me out the door. I don't drink a lot of coffee, so I take one before I work out. Have a fantastic workout. My mother, who is 72, takes it before pickleball. So she loves it. It's about 1.5 cups of coffee in here. So if you are caffeine sensitive, there is caffeine in here. I have not had one person email me saying that it makes them jittery at all. So it doesn't have that effect. But in Lose It, we have indole 3-carbinol. So indole 3-carb helps your body process excess estrogen. So really looking again at that excess estrogen in the system. If we have excess estrogen, that can lead to adipose fat. I already have a hard time with that word. That belly fat, cortisol belly around our belly. So really looking at how we can support our body's ability to process estrogen, because estrogen then can turn into fat and we have excess estrogen. We have red pepper extract in here that's going to increase the metabolism, increase the thermogenesis in the body. Then we've got the caffeine in here, as I mentioned. We have the green tea extract to stabilize blood sugar, so you don't have that bouncing blood sugar all over the place. We've got olive leaf in here, and that helps to suppress appetite. And then we have B12. So you can use it. And this one has workouts in it, meal plans, the whole thing. But as I said, there is no magic pill. So as much as I would love to tell you you're going to take this, and you've seen some ads, I've seen them recently on Instagram. It's like, take this and you'll drop like 20 pounds. It's like, no, that's not, no, you have to also, eat well, move your body, all the things we talked about tonight. But Lose It is an excellent addition. If you're just somebody who gets up in the morning like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, it kicks you in the butt. You have a fantastic workout. You're clear-headed. You feel great all day. And if you just do the one before workout, it's going to last you 2 months. If you're somebody who wants to take it on a more regular basis, like a couple times, 3 times a day, you can take it 2-3 times a day. Recently we had an incredible testimonial from a lady. She sent me it was a 10-minute video. And she said, not only did she decide to buy the product, but she was going to do everything in the program. So she said she overhauled her diet. She said she looked at the people she started hanging out with and if they were contributing to her life. She did the affirmations every morning. She did all the 5 pillars that we've included into the Lose It QR code. And she said, I've never felt so great. And it was really touching because she was like, I am so excited for the next years. And she's probably in her 50s. And she said it was looking at everything as a whole instead of just relying on one thing to take care of me. So it was a really cool testimonial and she really loved Lose It. So that is Lose It. Not to wake up 2-3 times a night. It depends on Stacer. It depends on how rough of a sleep, how hard of a sleep you are. I mean, I can take snooze and I'll sleep through the night. Another product we have is Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty does have melatonin in it. It's a tea. It's a powdered blend. Sorry, I'll grab it since I'm here. And this one would be your knockout. I hate to say knockout, but this one's going to knock you out. So this one is a powder. So there's 30 servings inside. It's got a little tiny scoop. It's got powder in my mouth. And you add it with warm water, have it before you go to bed. In about 15 minutes, you're going to be knocked pretty well out. I've had this product out for 2 years now. I've not had one person say they don't sleep on it. So in this product, we have the GABA, which helps you, that hormone that helps you sleep. We have 2 milligrams of melatonin. We did a really low dose so you don't have that sleep hangover. We have magnesium bisglycinate to get you in that calm, rested state. And then for the collagen supportive ingredients, we don't have collagen, but we have ingredients that encourage your body to make its own collagen. We have L-lysine. It's a cornerstone and building block to build collagen. We have Indian gooseberry that's high in vitamin C, which is required to build collagen. We've also added vitamin C in here. So we've given your body the amino acid that it uses to create collagen, and we've given the ingredients to make that collagen as well. So it's a really cool product. We've also got vitamin A in here for eye health and skin health. We have zinc, we have a full dose of vitamin D, and yeah, and that's it. So it's a ginger mint flavor. This would probably make you sleep through the night. If you have a really tough time sleeping, I can take snooze and I sleep through the night with 2, but it just really, everybody's so different. But I will say I do offer 100% money back guarantee. So if it doesn't work, by all means, you can exchange it and get something that works for you. Hope Honey and Ginger is okay with that, but they can send it back to me. I'm fine with that, because I really want to make sure if you're buying one of our products that you can actually utilize it and you enjoy it and love it, because that's important to me. Okay, I just did the lose it thing. Oh, Water Be Gone. I can touch on Water Be Gone as well. So Water Be Gone. Oh, Stacy. Okay, sorry, Stacy. So Water Be Gone is our product for water retention. So I'm going to go grab that one too. 1 second, since I'm here. Oh. So if anybody experiences water retention, and now we've hit the summer months. So if you experience water retention in the summer months, this is a great product to have. I take this every weekend. I am sodium sensitive. It makes such a difference. It flushes out excess water. If you have a little black dress to fit into on Friday night, it works well too. So in here, we've got, we have milk thistle. So milk thistle is going to support the liver to flush out the excess water. We have dandelion in here as well. So dandelion supports your body's ability to flush excess water in the system. We have magnesium to prevent cramping. We've added Fucus vesiculosis, which is known as kelpware. So it's a particular type of seaweed. It supports thyroid and also your body's ability to flush excess water. We have B6, and we added black cohosh as well. So that can help with PMS. Guys can take this too because it supports their prostate and also helps with comative effect. So you can take it when you travel. When I fly, we have a travel pack now that we sell. When I fly, I take one when I get on the plane and one every 2 hours. So I have no water retention when I go anywhere, and I feel fantastic, and I take it my whole trip, because usually when I'm on a trip, I'm having some extra food, possibly some drinks. So it's a great, great product. And you can stack these two together. If you wanted to, you can do Lose It and Water Be Gone together. So you take one of these in the morning with one of these. So 1 and 1, and then 1 and 1 in the afternoon as well. So it's a really great product for that. Right, I think I answer everything. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, we have more Lose It coming. There we go. Lose It is one of our best sellers, and it works really well. But make sure you scan the QR codes, because there's a lot of information in there that can support you guys. And as I said, if you ever have questions, you can always reach out. My team at Aeryon Wellness is awesome. They answer all Instagram and all messages that come into us. So awesome. Thank you. Well, I guess that's it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you so much, Honey and Ginger, for hosting this and allowing me to talk tonight to your customers. I really appreciate it. It's kind of fun to think you guys are all the way on the other side of the country. I'm on this side, you're on that side. So I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you soon, hopefully, for another webinar.